Hey everybody, how's it going? Let's see. I'm running a little early today. I just want to run long. So I said, you know what, let's just start the stream early today. Hang on 1 second while I adjust the old chat. I'm blind and cannot see. All right. Here we'll start a thing droning here. So there's at least something in the background here while we're going. There we go. Let's do this. We'll get a little pattern going here. Let's do a... There we go. There we go. All right, let that drone away in the background. Let's see. Who is here? Hey, you know what time of the year it is again? Finally? It's this time, Wabbit. I don't know if Wabbit's even here. I haven't looked yet. But it is time for pollen, which means there will be tissues around. And you can, make inappropriate innuendos if you choose. Why does Luke have so many tissues laying around his studio? Because Luke has hay fever, that's why. Let's see, who's here? My Logify, who is always first. And I see Garen. Hey, Andy. Let's see, Semtex Cow, hey there. Dr. Cynthio. Rourke, welcome back. Let's see. Wookie. Nordic Noir Music, hey there. Mr. Esplin. I Sing the Body Electric. Hey there, Davey. Let me just quickly zoom through the list here. All right, we'll see who else shows up at this off time. I'm going to run the normal, I'm going to keep going. I started at 1, but I'm going to go to 3, just because I have some small rants I want to rant about. Hey, Studio 8 Effects. And let's see. I think that's it. If I missed you, sorry. You take medication for that, Andy? Yeah. I do not. So my wife and son have... okay. Story time. So my wife and son have, unfortunate genetic predisposition in that their various orifices in their head, so their nasal passages, their ears, are very much tight and convoluted, prone to sinus problems, prone to what's it called? Hang on a second. There we go. Closing the studio door. That's what I've been doing lately, is forgetting to close the studio door. So both my wife and son have prone to ear infections because they're, the ear canal is really small and tight and curvy. The same is true for their sinuses. But me, I have giant holes. I have no significant problems with ear or sinus things, other than, everyone, the pollen that is currently coating everything. Just in the last 2 days, everything in my neighborhood dropped all of its pollen. So it rained last night and all of the runnels everywhere are bright yellow because there's a paste, a cement grout of yellow-green pollen everywhere. So as a result, my nose is running, but hey, that's okay. If you don't take meds, you'll poke your eyes out, Andy. You have the whole itchy eye thing. That's what my son has. He lives on Claritin from now until November. So anyway, let's see. So making a little noise. We'll talk about synths in a minute. I have a couple very minor, not rants. I want to complain about a Eurorack module that I'm very disappointed in. We're going to talk about octave flipping for Reg if he shows up. I want to talk about shepherding your workflow because I've been neglecting the music I'd been working on, and I want to shepherd it back. And then we'll talk about type theory. we probably won't talk about type theory, but I needed to fill the symmetry of the page, needed one more thing. So anyway, so what are we listening to today? You can hear the Rick droning in the background. We'll stop that. Things that haven't changed. So the Rick is still the Rick, doing its thing. Hang on one sec. Here, we'll kill the sustain. And this E-piano. I still love the electric piano, so that's going to stick around. But I have pulled the Mini Moog in favor of a subsequent 37. And why? Because I've got an itch to use it. Also, presets. Presets are nice. I like the presets. We are in F sharp, I think. Yeah, F sharp. I think I've stayed in F sharp, and it's mostly because I want to move the roots off of the corners. Normally, I have the root down in this corner. I wanted to move it up one and over. So. And we swapped out the reverb. We're just using delay right now. But I do have the Valhalla sitting here. And then we can play with the filter frequency while we do filter swells into the Valhalla. There we go. All right. That was the other thing I wanted. I wanted to be able to play an interval on a Moog lead. Like, choose the interval as opposed to just tuning one on the Mini Moog. Hey, Jeff. Let's see. Who else popped in? Tausophy. Hey there. Let's see. Nice. I'm glad you appreciate the E-piano Tausophy. Anyway, so we've got the sub in there, sub 37. The everything else is Korgs and soft synth. So this is the what is it? The Op 6. Doing something like a Kodo, maybe. I don't know, maybe inspired by is the better. Inspired by the Kodo. With like an accordion behind it. And then, what is going on here? I didn't actually go through and like choose new sounds in advance. I did for a couple, but like, what is this one doing? This is the wave state, and it's doing some sort of like sequence, and I'm not a big fan of the sequence stuff. Let's move through the presets here. There we go. Well, that one's sequence too, rhythmically. The wave state is like space music, easy space music synth. It sounds interesting, but I'm not going to use it today. Let's see what else we got. Might have to turn the reverb off on that one. You get a little too much reverb stacking there. Little guac. With some sort of pad that comes in behind it. That'll work. All right, we'll stay with this one. So the glockenspiel is a great example of why sine waves sound great. Right? It's a bell, so it's this inharmonic thing, but like the sustain on the glock is like pretty much a sine. That sounds awesome. I tried the Gaia 2. Hi, Doug. Have I tried the Gaia 2? No, I have not. I haven't tried the Gaia 1. In fact, although Garen has. You should talk to Garen. I think Garen has a Gaia 1, or had. Let's see. What else? The Mod Wave. Mod Wave's doing this sort of folded lead thing. Its little physics engine is like spinning around, modulating us in a sort of random sort of way. I'm going to play this on top of that E-piano and we'll see how it sounds. I think it'll work. Then our multi-poly's doing a sort of a breathy pad with some distortion behind it. As he reaches over, that's me reaching for the mod wave. It's right there. Not mod wave, multi-poly. And then, as I said, E-piano. Still doing the CS80 swell from last week because I really like it. I'm a sucker for space whales. Now, why am I a sucker for space whales? Because when I was a kid and I read the X-Men comics, there was like an alien race that was basically a knockoff of the xenomorphs from Alien. But in the lore of that alien race, they harvested and sort of enslaved these giant space whales, literally these creatures that would swim through space, made living ships out of them, which I think was also the inspiration for Farscape's, that whole Moya living ship thing. I love that mechanism, or not mechanism, the metaphor, right? Space whales is just a thing for me. If you ever see me on Discord, my profile in the background has a big humpback whale flying through space. Star Trek, yeah, Star Trek 4. Space whales, not quite what I meant, but yeah, that's a good one too. Whales are nice. So my sister went to university in Wales, or she went for a year. She was going to UMass, University of Massachusetts, but she spent a year in Wales, and it was pretty cool, right? I never went outside the country until I was an adult. She went while she was there. And I don't know if she, I don't know. Anyway, there is so I'm self-censoring. There's a story about my sister I'm not going to share with people because too close. Not cool. That would not be cool. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to rant. Hang on a second. I got to reach across the room, so 1 second. All right. That thing. I want to rant about this thing. Let me know if this is not in focus. This is the Mutant Brain. It's a Eurorack module, and it was, I can't remember who made it originally. This is the Noir edition that was made, I believe, by Erica Synths. They fulfilled these orders. I have a real love-hate relationship with Erica Synths. Some of their modules are awesome, and some of them suck. I don't know how to say it more politely. I love the Erica Synths. What are they? The precision adders. The mults that are octave adders. They work great. They're super. Yeah, Hex Inverter. Thank you, Andy. Hex Inverter made the Mutant Brain originally, and then they went out of business or closed their doors. I'm not sure what the story was there, but they closed their doors, and Erica Synths took over making these Mutant Brains. Now, what this is a MIDI module. You feed it a DIN cable, and it will give you 4 CVs and however many this is, 12 gates, and it's programmable. And the programming system is really elegant. You go to a web app, you download, you configure it on the web app, then you make a sysx that gets downloaded, and then you spit the sysx over DIN into here, and it programs this thing. Works great. But the problem is what this is for, it's intended for, among other things, is it will do basically take up to 4-note chord and split it out into 4 CVs for pitch, and then you can configure the gates however you want. It's freaking awesome. And the Hex Inverter ones I've seen demos of, and they're great. And so I ordered one, and I got this, not realizing. I was like, I'm not paying attention. There was no deception on the part of the buyer. I think I got it from Perfect Circuit. And I got it. And when I play a chord on this thing, it gives me 4 pitches, but it doesn't give me 4 gates. It gives me 1 gate. Like if I hold down 4 notes in a series and I tell it, hey, I want a 4-note chord mode, I get my 4 pitches, but I only get 1 gate. And the other ones never do anything. Now, it has other modes, and in those modes that works correctly. But this polyphonic chord mode, it's supposed to give you 4 pitches, and you should be able to program it to give you 4 gates. And I can't do it. And I'm like, is something wrong with this? Or is this me doing pilot error, not configuring it correctly? Because that's, more often than not, you're the idiot, right? Not the people who make the thing. And I'm looking and looking and looking. I threw in a support ticket to Erica Synths, but I mean, I'm not expecting much for them. They picked up the effort. I don't know why they did, because kindness of their hearts or something like that, or maybe they saw an opportunity. But I finally dug up a thread in a forum about this where people were having the same problem I was having. And it turns out, this is the part that I'm grumpy about, it turns out the Erica Synths versions of these don't do the poly gate, even though the manual that is still published on the Erica Synths website says they do. So I bought this basically after reading the manual going, does this do what I want it to do? Yes, it does. I bought it, and turns out it doesn't. It's frickin' pissing me off, right? Because some of Erica Synth stuff is great. I love those precision adders. They work fantastic, and they are precise. But this one, not so much. So I'm a little grumpy about that. So a little micro rant there. Biscuit. Oh, hey, Biscuit. Elric Meany? Hi, Elric. Welcome. Hey, it's Soup. Let's take a vote. 0 module, 1 Luke. Yeah. Hey, Tinker Scientist. Greetings. SysX, yes. SysX is still a thing. It's okay. The MIDI spec, man. The MIDI standard keeps moving us forward. Anyway, it should do a quad gate. It doesn't, though. That's my problem. I'm not getting 4 gates out of it, and the manual says it should. I'm a little annoyed. The other problem I had with Erica Synth was last Christmas, either last Christmas or the Christmas before. I got the Pico oscillators, and those things, man, talk about not staying in tune. And I don't know whether they're digital or analog, but I had the devil of a time getting them to stay in tune. And part of it's because they're Pico. I kind of shot myself in the foot. Anything that's 2 or 3 HP wide, they're going to have these tiny knobs that's super hard to precisely get in there. So Wookie says, would it be right to think you is annoyed? Yes, I is annoyed. Anyway, so it's of the 3 things from Erica Synths that I've tried, 2 have been fails, and 1 is excellent. So I don't know. I'm shying away from them. But yeah, the product discrepancy work. That's probably the right way to say. So Soup says their digital stuff is very hit or miss. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm annoyed. Anyway, okay, so that's that's it. So the Euro rack stuff. Oh, I had predicated her. I had predicated what I wanted to build into the matriarch on being able to replicate the matriarch, track the 4 keys in 4-part mode on the matriarch, and the only way you can do that is through Midi, because you can't get 4 individual pitch CVs for 4 notes being held down out of the matriarch. It only gives you the last note played. So if anybody out there is into modding matriarchs and can reliably and safely do me, I will pay for a mod that will help me get 4 pitch CVs out of the matriarch. Or if someone has an old hex inverter version one of these they're willing to sell to me, I'll buy it from you at a good price, more than you might get selling it used. I would pay more. So let me know. It's driving me crazy because the matriarch is over there and it's like calling to me. It's like, come on, man, you're gonna put me back together. What's going on? And I'm like, yes, I'll get to you. Anyway, we'll get there. Let's see. Or maybe someone else has a module that does the same thing. But basically, I can feed it MIDI. I need to get 4 pitches out of it. We'll see how it goes. All right. So, Eurocrack rant done. Done. Who else is here? Oh, Keith in Watford. Hey. FH2 will fix all of this, says Jeff. Is that an expert sleepers module? What's FH2? I'm super not paying attention to the Eurorack world right now. So, anyway, all right. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, is Reg here? Reg, are you here? I don't know if you're here. Say yes. Yes, expert sleepers. I love expert sleeper stuff, Jeff. Big fan. Used to have a big rig from them many, many moons ago. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The thing is, if you buy expert sleepers, a disting is just a stone's throw away, right? And as we know, as synchrotron is proof, right? Proof is in the pudding. Andy's in the pudding. That once you start playing with that stuff, the distings grow and they just spread, and it's like mushrooms. Eventually, that's all you have in your rack. It's all distings all the time, right? An all disting system. So. Reg is in the house. Okay. Reg, did you change your handle? I don't know. I've got the chat like zoomed up so big so I can see it with my blind eyes, so I can only see like 6 messages on the screen at any given time. But if Reg is in the house, Reg, you were talking about MIDI, flipping MIDI octaves and stuff like that. I'm using the jelly beans here for that. Let's see, bass. Right, so so you can map any control surface to a Ableton pitch device, and then you can have as many octaves as you've got free buttons you could do. You can also map a pitch device to a knob in Ableton. And if you really want to get exciting, I think you can do it in the user mode on your push. So there's a user mode that allows you to map this stuff as well. Although I never use it because I prefer to have another thing over here. But so if you're going to do, let's say, so if you're going to do a little, let's see, let me just put a riff down. There we go. Right, so while you're playing, you could have one hand. So I need 2 hands to play, even monophonically. But while you're playing, you could keep a hand over on your control surface and right, and the same thing. I use it for transposition. But you could do it for octaves as well, right? So we go up an octave. There, or drop it down. So it's just a small matter of mapping. That is a long ass reverb. that is a long reverb. Hang on a second. Now the way Valhalla works, because it's actually a smeared delay and not like a reverb. When I drop the feedback, and the delay milliseconds. Oop, we're in the middle of changing it. There we go. I think that is money well spent. It's the best reverb for the best space black hole style reverb for the money. Because it's free. All right. Let's see. Oh, if you have a question, please tag me or put a whole bunch of capital Q's at the beginning of the line. Okay, because I'll miss it. So it's okay. Room sizes and everything. Yeah. What is the sound? What is the impulse response of a hot dog being thrown down a marble hallway? Because it's not the size of the room, right? Hey, Tracker Jack. Oh, you're the one who said size and everything. All right. So let's do this. Let's do something a little Berlin schooly. It's still going to have like rhythm behind it, like that eventually. But let's try something with real small loops. Let's try 1-bar loops and just see what happens. It'll take a little bit to get it to a place where it sounds good. Here, we'll try this. Whoops. 1, 2. All right, I don't like that last note, so we're going to edit it. There we go. And make it a little softer. All right. Now we're going to duplicate that pattern over to the subsequent 37. We'll mix them together. And we're going to do a little experiment. We're going to double the loop length on this, on the Moog. Hang on a second. All right. All right, so it's twice as long. And we're going to change its loop length to be like a bar shorter, like an odd number. Like a beat shorter. There we go. All right, let's mix these together. And I think the op 6 one, we're gonna up what is it? We're gonna up on the beats, we'll up the velocity on those. There we go. All right, now let's put a bass line on it. Something like that. Let's switch out the drum loop, hold on. Let's put some E-piano on here. More volume. Try and mix these together a little bit better. And let's do some transpositions. terrible ending. All right, that'll work. So I like it. Love that E-piano. Let's see. Who else popped in? Let's see. Hey, Tron Dog. Greetings. Let's see. And the Tinker Scientist asks, just need a pointer at how to implement it. The Ableton module to use and how to control it with the launch pad. Oh, the transposition stuff. Well, good. Here, we're going to talk about octave flipping, so let's talk about that. It's super easy. Hang on a second. Did I miss any other questions? Let's see. Looking for tags and cues. Scanning back. No. What are some of the best resources for learning to play the push? There are a lot of good ones. We're going to talk about how the transposition stuff works in a sec. How to set it up. It's easy. You'll be happy, Tinker Scientist. It's super easy. Doug, let's see. If you want to pay for something, what's his name? Andre Soren? I may be getting the name wrong. If you Google Push Bible, there's a guy who's got like an entire course on the push. Everyone loves it. I haven't tried it, but everyone says it's awesome. And then as far as free stuff, Ableton's got some great tutorials. So if you go to Ableton itself, go to their website, go to help to learn push. There's a thing, learn push. And it will teach you, it has a lot of chapters, and 2 or 3 of the chapters are about note mode, playing in note mode. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff like how to loop and slice and, use it to control live. But there's a couple chapters specifically on learning to play in note mode. And there are more than one way. There's more than one way to do it. I've noticed that some people play in the chromatic mode like this, right? Hang on a second. Some people play in chromatic mode, and some people play in key mode, and some people even change the layout to be like thirds. But I like it in fourths, and I like chromatic because I have big hands. Anyway, so that's it. All right, 1 sec. Oh, I'm a little parched. Hang on 1 second while I quickly mute the mic and have a little bit of tea. 1 second. Okay, so I have a video on this, and we've done this in the streams a few times, but I will show you again, or show you for the first time for Tinker Scientist. You're trying to learn chromatic mode. Chromatic mode's awesome because, so we're in a minor mode. What are we in? F sharp minor, right? You know what? For giggles, let's change to Dorian. Yeah, we'll do that. So being able to just dial in a root and mode is awesome. I'm going to need to delete all of those things, otherwise they're not going to transpose correctly. But as far as playing note mode, it's easier if you think of it as an 8-stringed bass with 7 frets, because that's what it is, right? Here, let me turn off the transposition stuff. Right? Right, you could play all the in-between notes, right? Let's see, my up is better than my down. But the shapes are consistent when you're in chromatic mode, right? So like that's always a 5th. That interval up 1/2. If when you're in key mode, it's not always a 5th. It shifts. Anyway, let's talk about how to do that. Here, let me do this. Let me deedly. We need, the simplest way to show this would be this way. All right. Hang on, let me flip over to, I don't have a fancy camera switcher thingy. So hang on a second. We're going to look at Ableton. If you hate Ableton, run away. Okay. So, all right. let me know if you can't see Ableton. All right. Push makes playing way more easy than a piano. Davey. I don't necessarily agree with that. If you're a piano player and people were like, the grid is the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's nothing you can't do on a grid nothing you can do on a piano that you can't do on a grid. Just do this. Spread your hand, get an 88 key controller, spread your hands way out and play like a six octave, interval. Because you can't do that on a grid. You could probably do that actually. That's not true. If you have a Linstrument that's big enough, or a Monom 256, you could do it. You could get away with. You could cover all. A Monom 256 covers all MIDI notes that are available, and I'm pretty sure the larger Linstrument does as well. But a push, you've only got like 3.5 octave range. So. All right. So let's see. Who asked again? Tinker Scientist. Okay. So we're looking at. Sorry, I've been making hand gestures in front of the thing, but you guys are staring at Ableton. Okay. So within Ableton, so this is my piano. This is my E-piano. Okay. Right. So it's this instrument rack that I've built. It's got an atmosphere in it with a bunch of stuff going on, processing and things like that. Okay. Not going to worry about that. So we can minimize that. That's the instrument. All right. And then this is a MIDI pitch device, which is over here in MIDI effects. Pitch device. You can drag one of these things in. Right. And you can. Right. It's just a pitch device. It transposes MIDI notes that come in up or down. But it has this button at the top. If you have Live 11 or Live 12, up at the top of the UI, there is this little purple button, and there's a root and scale, root and mode. Okay. It's the same as on the push, right? And when this button is on, any device that has that button on, this one does not, this one does, okay? It will go into key aware mode, right? So this one, it's turned off. So this pitch device, right, if I go down, hang on a second. We need to chill our delay out for a second. There we go. Okay. Boring sound, but that's okay. So this is not in key mode. The button here is not purple. So this is for pure step transposition. So -6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? So this is nice for transposition. This is all that ever existed in Live. Oh, I went off the top. There we go. But if you turn this on, now it no longer says ST. It's no longer steps. It's SD as in David. These are scale degrees. So if I go up 1 scale degree, right, that's a major second. So 1 scale degree. So it knows I'm in Dorian. And so that's F sharp. And when I go up 1 scale degree, right, that's G sharp. If I go up again, right, a minor second. It keeps it in key. Okay, so this is important. Now, I'm going to close this because this isn't what we're doing. What's doing this thing over here when we transpose, so we'll bring this down an octave. There we go. We're doing these transpositions. All right, well, this Launchpad is set up so that these are notes, okay? This is middle C. This is an octave below middle C. This is an octave above middle C, okay? Actually, no, I don't think I've got it set up that way. Hold on a second. Let's check. Components. Components. Here we go. All right, so Launchpad Mini. Let's manage this Launchpad Mini. Let's get the custom mode, number 3. All right, so this is the layout that we're looking at. Let me know if this isn't coming across. Can you guys see the components thing, or is it locked to like live? It might be locked to live. Hold on a second. No, it's still in full screen. Okay. So you should be able to see the little tool you use to do the grid. You see it. Awesome. Okay. So what's using this tool, you can drag little widgets off of the side here out onto the grid and assign them stuff. So like this is my microphone mute button. Now we are not muted. How's that for a dumb demonstration? What is it though? If I click on it, this is a toggle button so that when I click on it on my pad, it goes between on and off, right? And it's sending CC 110. And when it's off, it sends a value of 0. And when it's on, it sends a value of 127. Inside Live, I have this mapped to the mute button on my microphone. Okay. Well, this stuff over here, if we look at this one in the middle, it's a momentary MIDI note. So when you hit it, it sends C2 to the global channel. All right. And this will come into Ableton and we can use that to map to controls. And so this is a C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, G, F sharp, G. All right. And then going down, it's going down by half steps. So C, B, A sharp, B flat, A, G sharp, G, F sharp, F. Okay. These notes, the actual notes they are, is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You can use any notes you want as long as you go up and down. You go up, 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 up by one each time, one half step. Because what we care about in Live, we're mapping the MIDI key value, right? So like this is C2. So it's, I don't know, 64 or 32. I don't know what it is, but it's C2, right? This is G2. This is F1. It's because we went down by half steps. And what this does is this gives me, from my middle position, I can transpose up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 scale degrees. So this to this is an octave higher, and going down, this is, if this is our starting point, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 scale degrees. That's why they're the same color. Okay. And so we set this up on the Launchpad and we say, okay, I've got a bunch of notes here that'll come through. Don't worry about these. These are just faders. So we close this, and then in Live, yes, please leave. Okay. And then in Live, for this, I throw a pitch device in here and I turn on global awareness. And so what I want to do is at 0, when I press that middle green button on the Launchpad, I want this to be 0. And then I'm going to press it as I go up. Every time I press up, this goes up 1 scale degree, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 7, which is an octave higher. And you could jump around anywhere. You don't have to go in order, right? It's random access, right? You can jump all over the place. And then the way you set up this mapping, okay, is you hit Command M to bring up the MIDI mappings. If I click on this control, the dial itself, you see it's got a mapping already on channel 1 from F1 to G2. Those are the notes that I set up in the Launchpad Components tool, right? And if I select this, you could see F1 to G2 is on the piano track on the global. That's the name of this device. I renamed it to global. And we're changing this pitch scale degree. And you put in this range. Here, we'll blow this away and I'll do it by hand. Okay. So we'll pretend that I'm setting this up for the first time. So over in components, I have built the little grid, okay, of notes. And those notes are going to come in, okay? What I do is I then drag in a pitch device. We'll put it here. I give it a name. I like to call it global. So I know that it's the global pitch. All right. I make it scale aware. I turn that on. So this is SD, scale degrees. And then I hit Command M to bring up a mapping. I'm going to look at the chat in a second. If you guys are typing stuff, I'm not seeing it. Hang on. And then I select the pitch dial. So we've got our little corner selection. And then on my control surface, I'm going to switch back the camera. Hang on a second so you can see what I do. Okay, so basically Live's waiting. It's saying press a MIDI note on your controller. And what I do is I press the lowest and hold it down and press the highest and hold it down. Then I let go. Now let's flip back over to Live. And you will see that in Live, there is now an assignment here and here it is on the piano's track, on the global device, on the pitch scale degree knob, there's a range defined, and this is the default range, but I've only got 7 negative numbers, a middle number, and 7 positive numbers. So I have to dial this in. So from -7 scale degrees to +7 scale degrees, and then you're good. You hit Command M to turn it off, and you can control it. Now what I've done is every single track has one of these global devices in it. So if we bring up the mappings, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are my 8 tracks on the push. Dr. Bob, each of the instruments has a global device. Rick's is not named global, it's just called pitch. And then we've got it mapped to scale degrees, and it's from -7 to +7. All right. And that lets us be playing stuff, right? That lets us do a little bit here. Do. We'll put a little bass part in. All right, and then when all right, so those are the clips. I go over here to touch these, that's where I'm at. That's 0, no change. But when I go up, it's going to transpose everything up. And when I go down, it's going to transpose everything down. Okay? 0, up 2 scale degrees. Down 1 scale degree. That's it. And that's how that works. So you can do transpositions of all your patterns. It's super fun, right? More people should do this. The thing is, what I've done here, I've been doing for years. You used to be, you can do this in like Ableton. When did the scale device come out? Like Ableton 6. Like I've been doing this for like 10 years. With Ableton 11 and Ableton 12, they added the scale awareness stuff so that devices know the difference between a scale degree and just a step transposition. That's what made it so that all of my custom devices that I used to have to use to get this to work just magically work. It's awesome. And now if you're into like synths, like the multi-poly, a bunch of other synthesizers, all of the stuff like the Oxy and the Haypacks and all the hardware sequencers that are coming out now, that's like the new hotness feature. Everything is scale aware. So when you do transpositions in live playing or performing, it will transpose but keep everything in key, right? That's great. Now, because I have to stay ahead of the curve, now that everyone's adding that in, I'm working on trying to get this to work, but be flexible enough that I can, like, because right now, when you're in scale aware mode, even though I'm in chromatic mode, right, this should be a half step up, but it's not. This forces everything to be in key mode. So you cannot play outside the key. It means you can't play accidentals, and you can't intentionally play things outside the key. Okay. Now, if you turn off the little purple button at the top of the window in Live, the scale aware mode, you can. But what happens is the transposition stuff stops working, right? So I'm working on some more variation. I'm playing with control surface and stuff so that I can do transposition, but also I can transpose to other modes, which is tough because you cannot automate via remote automation what mode you're in. You can set it on a clip, and so that when you hit a clip, you can set the clip to be, you know, C Dorian, and then you can make a new clip underneath it and set it to, you know, A, you know, Phrygian. And when you launch the first clip, the grid and everything will change to C Dorian. And then when you hit the next clip, everything will change to, you know, A Phrygian. But I want to be able to do that from over here. And I don't know if that's, I've been experimenting with having dummy clips with key on it. But it has to be launched and it has to be selected. That's the problem. So the Ableton only does that change. The push only changes perspective if the clip is selected with a key and root on it. Anyway, you guys don't care about that. That's the next evolution. I'm working on it. We'll see where it goes. So was that good for you, Tinker Scientist? All right, good. Oh, good. All right. And you can always go rewatch the stream if that helps. Let's see. Let me scan back looking for things. All right, I don't see any tags. If I missed you, just ask your question again. I'm sorry. And that worked for Tinker. Good. Doug says, do you need to set up a specific mode in components to make this work? Well, no. You have to build a custom surface in components. So you got to read the manual on like how to do that, what you're doing. And you want a grid of notes, basically. Is scale aware MIDI information? Scale awareness? I don't think you can map. Hang on, let me check. No. So you cannot control scale or scale awareness via CCs. You can't change it. Not yet, anyway. So, yeah, a feature request. We'll see where it goes. Anyway, so that's that. All right, I'm going to mark that as done. Okay, we did octave flip in and we explained how these are the jelly beans I refer to. Those are done. Let's talk about shepherding. Aha, the next thing. What do I mean when I say shepherding? First of all, what's the camera looking at? Is it my hands or is it the DAW? It's my hands. Great. Because I like to talk with my hands. Let's talk with my hands. Okay, so what's the state? I was working on an album 6 months ago. What's it doing? Let's start a drone. Let's drone, shall we? You drone. You delete. Select you. And I need another drone. Let's do this one. That'll work. And we'll do one more. Let's see. We just set up a little pattern in the background. All right. Let that do its thing. Okay. Rourke asks, how do you avoid the push MIDI notes from interfering with the scale degree mapping? So it's coming in on the Launchpad Pro, and the Launchpad Pro is set up to be, let me look at my MIDI settings real quick. Okay. The Launchpad Pro is set so that it only sends, it only gets mapped to remote control, and the track information is disabled. So here, let me show you. Show you the MIDI settings. Hang on, guys. Flip it around. All right, so here's the preferences. So you can see over here, the push is doing track information and remote, the track information, right? The Launchpad Mini is not doing track. It's only doing remote. Okay, so it can't, its notes are never routed to Live's tracks. They're only used for remote mapping. That's how I get around it. Okay. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just ask a clarifying question if you need it. MIDI 2.0, I'm waiting for MIDI 2.0. I've got synths that support it, but it's going to take like 5 years before like controllers know. What's really funny is, hang on a second. I'm sorry, I'm a little verklempt. Is verklempt the right word? What is it when you're parched? Like the United States sort of cowboy euphemism, I'm parched. I need a drink. What is the German word or Yiddish word for I need a drink? Rourke. Okay, that's clear for you. Cool. Doug says, I need to turn off remote control on my launch pad for something like the nuclear. Yeah. Yeah, Doug. Or try, see if you can use one of the other modes to see if it'll work. Right. The nuclear demo, the transposition demo. That's fine. I knew what you meant. Parched works. Thirsty. Ich brauch etwas zu trinken. So I only know a little bit of German, and my accent's terrible. I learned German in high school, in junior high school, from my teacher, Herr Lekina, who is from Italy. So I learned Hochdeutsch with an Italian accent. So there you go. In Scotland, we say we have a druth. In Yiddish, it's yizma. So there's no text, right? So whenever someone spells a Yiddish word for me, I pretend that I am Mel Brooks. And I try and say it, but I'm not. Ich bin durstig. Oh, thirsty? Okay. Ich habe Durst. I have thirst. Okay. Got it. Where were we? Oh, okay. So yeah, shepherding. So I was working on this album. So, oh, hey, Quattro Pagina. And so what's happened? I got distracted. A bunch of things happened, which is normal. Like there's ups and downs for me working on music. There are 3 things in my life that I have, you can call hobbies, right? I have music, and I have my health, and I have my work. These are all hobbies, right? Well, these are all things that I focus on. And they all are on different biorhythmic cycles, right? So at any given time, one of them may be something I'm really focusing on, and the other ones would be things I'm ignoring, right? So it's work, health, and music. These are the things. And so music was very high 6 months ago. I was working on it, but health was not. And so my health really deteriorated. Work is on a pretty steady, I really like work. So work is usually pretty high. And so what happens is music and health sort of flip back and forth. And the catalyst for changes in these things is usually video games. So some video game will come out, right? And my music will go down, and the quality of my health will go down. But it works great. But I come home and I play video games, and I'm like, I should probably work on some music or exercise. And so, anyway, so health was up recently. The health needs to be improved. So I've been focusing on that, and now I'm getting back to the music stuff. So this gets to the idea of shepherding. So here's a life hack. I'm I'm a happy person. I don't know whether I'm qualified to give people life hacks, but here's the one that I'm using. There's this concept in meditation, of which I'm a fan of meditation, but I'm not a preachy meditator person. If you try meditating, which really just means sit down in a quiet place and breathe deeply and focus on your breath. Okay, that's all I'm going to give you as far as the spiel. It's awesome. And it's the sort of thing where you could sit in your car when you park at work, when you arrive, and just do that for 3 minutes. And if you do that for 3 minutes for like a week, and then the next week you try 4 minutes, you will eventually get to a place where, and it takes, when you start to hit the 10-minute mark, something happens and you do actually relax and your body lets go of stress, and it's awesome. But when you're focusing, there's this concept of shepherding your attention, because as soon as you try and focus on your breathing, every distraction in the world pops into your mind. Like, I got to get into work and do that project. My wife and I had an argument this morning. My kid stole my car. All sorts of stuff, right? My child did not steal my car. But all these things start demanding your brain's attention when you're trying to focus on your breathing. And the best advice I ever got was, don't get upset with yourself. Don't try and force it, because you're not trying to think about nothing. You're just trying to just think about the feeling of breath coming in and out of you. And they said it's good to shepherd. You're shepherding your thoughts. They're like sheep. They're going to wander away. Andy, this one's for you. Sheep. They're going to wander away, and you don't get mad at them. You don't hit your sheep when they go wandering. You just shepherd them back into the fold. So when your thoughts wander away, you just recognize that, oh, I'm thinking, how did I get here? I was thinking about my breath, and now I'm thinking about that meeting I'm going to have in 20 minutes. So just say, no, just think about your breath, and you pull them back in. That's called shepherding your thoughts, and it works really well. Well, that's what I also do. Here's the music life hack thing. I shepherd my workflow. I shepherd my effort on my projects. So I'm working on the album, and then it fades, right? And I'm like, oh, I should probably work on that more. Instead of feeling guilty and going like, oh, I feel bad, I haven't really been working on that. And then you get into this avoidance place where like, I don't even want to think about it because I've been ignoring it for so long. That's a failure mode. You just shepherd your ideas back. You go, okay, no, shepherd, we're going to go pick up those projects again and just keep on going. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm shepherding myself back into that prog rock album that I was working on. And so that's what's going on. So next Sunday, you should see some progress. This is my public assertion of accountability, right? Next Sunday, I should have a little bit more music to share on the album itself. So, hey, the Morphing Orb, greetings. So that's shepherding. Shepherding my workflow, shepherding my projects. So, let me scan back. Doug asked, is there any way to have one pitch device's value control the other pitch device? You could probably do that with Max for Live. I mean, generally, the pitch device in Ableton doesn't emit anything. You map its controls to other things. You don't map it to itself. You could use an effects rack macro to control two pitch devices simultaneously with two different scales. That's doable. Rourke says need water is Bedorfer Wasser in Yiddish. Bedorfer Wasser. I hope I said that right. Is it Wasser? Fasser. Because like W's are V's and V's are sort of F's in German. I don't know what it is in Yiddish. So, an oscillating dance between health and music. Yep, that's how it goes, man. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going through this. I'm scanning, looking for tags. Be still and know God. Yep, that's so. So, in the whole meditation space thing, right? Some people are spiritual. Some people are religious. Some people are spirit. I guess it's different things. There's a measure of how religious you are. There's a measure of how spiritual you are, and then there's a measure of how mystical you are. And I'm very low in the religious scale, and I'm medium in the spiritual place, and I'm very, very low in the mystical section. so it's okay. You could be whatever you want. I'm not dissing anyone. But for me, yeah, not so much. The Be Still and Know God, it sounds good, but I wouldn't put that bumper sticker on my car. Although I think I've seen it, so that's okay. So shepherding. I don't know if it's a useful metaphor. If it works for you, Will, give it a whirl, man. Single V is F in German. That's what I thought. I seem to recall. And Andy's low in all three. Well, you're very high in disting, so that's okay. What about philosophical? Philosophical is orthogonal. So philosophical, like religion, spirituality, mysticism, I think are all, streams in the same river, and philosophy is like orthogonal to them. It like cuts across them, right? Anyway. All right, so we've got this bed going. Anyway, that was shepherding. All right, so we're good with shepherding. And we're not going to talk about type theory. Let my work leak into my play. That's not happening. Someone got a wagging finger from the doc. Andy, I just saw my doctor last week. I didn't get a wagging finger, but I gotta try again. My doctor shepherds me. So that mechanism, absolutely. That is what my doctor does, right? I go and sometimes it's awesome. And he's like, oh, all your blood, measurements are great and you're losing weight and everything looks good and your nerves look good. Yeah, keep going. And sometimes it's, well, some of your numbers are going, they're a little up from where we would like them to be. And you should just, continue, pick it up again, continue what you're doing. He's very much a shepherdy doctor. So I never had a doctor who wagged their finger at me, but I think I fear that. Like you worry going to the doctor. It's like, I'm going to go to the doctor. They're going to shame me. And they generally don't. If they do, get a new doctor. Biscuit is orthogonal. All right. So we've got some noise here. Let's build on top of it, shall we? What do we have playing? So we have the swell and the Rick's got, we're going to tell the Rick to chill. We'll pull the Rick out. We'll pull the swell out. Oh, so in case if you like to do drones and you want to do drones on the push, actually, let's talk about another MIDI device real quick. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to flip over to Ableton. So hang on. There we go. Okay, let's go back to the bass. All right. So what I want to show you is this device. Let me close these up. No, I don't need that. That's from a couple weeks ago. All right, this thing. In Ableton, there's a MIDI device called CC Control. Hang on a second. Too loud. Okay. So I used to build this. So when Max for Live came out, I built a device that allowed me to send arbitrary MIDI CCs. And I think enough people built this, and it was a feature request for long enough that Ableton finally put one in. And this is a device with a mod wheel. So it sends MIDI stuff. So mod wheel, pitch bend, pressure, and you can select an arbitrary MIDI CC, right? And that you want to send. And it can be an on-off, like a toggle. So that's what I'm doing with MIDI sustain. So, and you can control that from the push. I'll show that in a second. And then you can set as many custom things as you want. You want to do foot controller, but you don't have a foot controller. Well, here's a dial now on your push you can turn to do foot control. And you can set as many as you want, and you can have up to 16 of them. And these are all in turn mappable. So it's like having super macros. You can have macros of macros of macros. Yo, dog. I hear you like macros in your macros. So you can recurse as much as you want. And so if I go to device view on the Rick, so this knob here is my custom A, which is for me is, what is it called? Sustain. So I could turn sustain on and off. So if I want a drone, I just hit the note and then turn it on and walk away. Now what I used to do is I had a sustain pedal plugged into the back, and I would hit the note and step on the sustain pedal. So if you go look at January from 2 years ago, I did a lot of drones. Here, we'll bring the actual Taurus up. There we go. I would hit the note and then hold down the sustain pedal with my foot and then change tracks. And because you change focus away, the MIDI sustain on was transmitted, but when I take my foot off, because the track's not active, it never sees the sustain off. So it would just go forever. But that's kind of error prone, because if I flip back and forth between tracks, some things sustained that I didn't want to sustain, and some things would cause the sustaining tracks to stop sustaining. But with this new CC control device, you can have really nice, tightly integrated control. And if I want to kill the drone, I just turn it off. If I want to bring it back, we'll bring it back. And while it's doing it, I can play with pitch bend. or anything else, any of the MPE controls. So if you want to do that with an MPE device, you can assign dials to all the things. So if you don't have an MPE controller, but you want to have MPE expression, you can use the MPE controls in the Midi CC control devices to have the knobs on your push or some other control surface basically send MPE or expression data, on whatever. I'm not a big fan of MPE. I've talked about that. I'd rather use MIDI 2.0. I like CCs. CC control works for me. So anyway, let me see here. Is it the same MIDI CC for sustain? Sustain pedal is 64. MIDI CC 64. So hang on, I'm scanning back looking for tags. Tinker Scientist says, I'll always be listening when you're talking controls. Okay. And Garen and Andy are going back and forth. Something about a tenderizing mallet. You guys play nice. So, all right. So this is sustaining. And I think our... rather than have the sustain, let's actually put a line down. In fact, let's do this. Let's copy. We're going to do something similar to what we did before. So I've got this MIDI bit in here. Turn it up. Right, this is the op6 playing these notes. So we're going to duplicate that over to the e-piano. Oh, and I had turned off all the effects on the e-piano, so hang on, let me turn them back on. Let's see. There's the macros, the echo. I think that's fine. All right, and let's make this one a little shorter. So when this gets around, these should loop, should go out of phase with each other. There we go. All right, let's play with Mr. Bob too. All right, let's do something really short. All right, that wasn't short, but I'm going to make it short. Now the CC control on the subsequent is also connected to res and frequency and envelope amount. So I can control them from the push, which is, it's right next to me here, so I could reach over and tweak the filter cutoff, but having it mapped into the push allows me to automate it. All right, so I could turn on automation, hit record, and play with it. I want want to double the length of that loop though, because it's not long enough for me to get a nice sweep. Alright, now let's play with it. There we go. So that'll come in and out. Oh, thanks. Oh, thank you, Morphing Orb. Working it. Biscuit, you had to run. See you, man. All right, let's put a bass line under it. Let's fix the bass. Right now it's in a mess. Got a lot of sub. I don't want any sub, actually. Let's go to one of our... There we go. Do a 8-bar thing. Whoops, missed the end. That's what I got for... Alright, 16 bars. Put a little Glock part in here. One more. Got planned. We'll put some swells in. Whoops. So here's the thing. All right, jelly beans, transposition. So certain keys, certain modes, in any given mode, one of these things is going to put you in the Locrian. Okay. So if you don't know anything about modes, I try not to spam. I'm not a music theory guy. Like my theory is weak. But hang on one second. Am I all right? Yeah. Okay. My theory is weak, but of the modes you can go through, right? The 7 modes. One of them is known as the Locrian mode, and the Locrian mode has when you jump to the Locrian mode from wherever you're going, it can sound very dissonant. Here's an example, right? So here I am in Dorian. I'm going to go 1 scale degree down to Locrian. Right? It's consistent. I think that's Locrian. It sounds within itself. It's consistent, but it's only like. It's like, let me go back. I find that transition to be jarring. Maybe it's not Locrian, but when you're doing this jelly bean oriented transposition, one of the modes that you want to jump to tends to be a little ugly. Let's see. That one's not so bad. And I'm not very familiar with transposing in and out of Dorian, so it's something I need to practice. So if nothing else, the transposition stuff will let you sort of train your ear on moving between modes. Just moving this groove around. So repetition legitimizes. So like when you do a change, if it doesn't sound right, just let it sit there. Don't change away from it. It'll paint that groove back in. There we are back at whatever, F sharp Dorian. All right. Let's change the bass out. Head into deedle music territory. ugly. Beetle Deedle? No, Deedle Deedle. Andy got it right. The channel has like jargon, partially from me and partially from you guys. Nice. Your cough is now a thing? That is true, Josephine. Part of it is I'm in Dorian and I don't have much practice transposing from Dorian to other places. If we were in like Aeolian, minor or major, not a problem. But I just need to practice more. Oh, my cough. Nice. Duh. Thank you, Andy. All right, let's bring some stuff out. There we go. All righty. All right, so let's see. I want to go for another 15 minutes or so. I think we'll shut it off at the top of the hour. But let's do something that I never do. Let's play with some presets. Let's see. Sounds like a doorbell. Totally. Right. All right, let's do this. So I went through the multi-poly. Turn off the delay here. I went through the multi-poly and chose a bunch of the presets in it that motivated me, moved me, inspired me. I don't know. And then set them as favorites so that I can quickly navigate to them. It is a nice bass. Here, let's do this. Yeah, not the greatest timing on my part, but whatever. All right. Oh, you know what? That's part of the reason the transpositions were weird, because I hadn't enabled the scale awareness on all of the tracks. I had some of them on and some of them off. I'm a doofus. Hey, Freddy. Again, I'm not the greatest player. My timing is a little weak. All right, let's see. So I was going to go through a few of these. Let's see. That's one I liked. Let's see. Just going to do this for the last 10 minutes. Some of these want effects. Like, that's very Berlin School. Hang on a second. It's very, very mono too. Let's see. Let's do this. There we go. We'll make the delays spread out. They're too spread out now. Hang on a second. There we go. So the thing I've noticed about the multi-poly is like this preset, not amazing. It's nice. It's very round. But the designers who are doing these really, really want you to mess with the macro knobs. So like, like there's an openness macro here, right? It's sort of like envelope depth. There's also decay. You can hold it out a little longer. We can soften the attack. And then I think a unison stereo. Not bad. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, it could be. With the delay, yeah. What does it run like hell? Let's see what else we got cooking around in here. Very 80s. Someone else said the multi-poly is like super synthwave synth. Just play fifths, right? Tinker says, so many developers do not include macro controls on sound, so I approve. Yeah, I do too. I've really liked this. And then it made me go back and revisit the other Korg Pi synths, and they're all the same way. And some of them have puzzles in them. I've mentioned this before. The Wave State has a preset that has an 8-step sequencer in it, and the first 4 steps are controlled by the macro knobs, and the other 4 are a mystery for you to solve by digging around in the mod matrix. It's fascinating. They're teaching you, the presets teach you how to program the thing. So the reverb you're hearing is from the multi-poly itself. It's really nice, in my opinion. That's very much Robin of Sherwood. Go get your Clannad, get your Anya. It's a little filter sweep in there if you sustain it. See if I can turn that up. I think it's tied to a macro. There it is. That's awesome. Beautiful. Let's keep going. The name of this preset is, okay. There's a bass sound. Is there an 80s pop hit that this sound, this timbre reminds you of? I'll give you a hint. There's one male vocalist, two female vocalists, and then the rest of the band. The band was named after a role-playing game. A role-playing game, a science fiction role-playing game. Any hints? Something like that. Something like that. You Don't Want Me. That is the name of the preset. It's called the Don't You Want Me bass. It's totally Human League. Something like that. So Garen plays regular, or at least used to, I think you still do, regularly plays out in cover bands. And so he probably knows how to play that song. Yeah, it's right out of that. Someone said, I'm going to give cover bands a break on this one. So like, here's an example. I'm not a fan of this sound. It's a little too buzzy. Like the preset, just loaded as is, not great, but go grab the macro knobs, right? One of them says cutoff. Right, so if you ride that cutoff, it's much more interesting. There's also a detune option. You can also undetune it. And then up the delay time, well, the release time. Too deep. Not bad. Yeah, there is a lot of good cover tunes on the multi-poly. All right, I'll do one more. Let's see. This is a weird one. So it's a key, so it's comping. So think piano, E piano. Let's see, octave. So you can push one of the voices up an octave. Or two. So interesting, one of the layers you're playing with the octaves here. So we're gonna sequence something. Hang on real quick. I know I'm running out of time. Oh, I know you all gotta go. Hang on. Let me record this. All right, so let that play. And then we just crank this octave knob for one of the layers. Negative. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's interesting. You can also soften, there's a shaper in there. And bring in a saw. Interesting. See ya, Wookie. Have fun. I'm gonna see where this goes. All right, so here's something that happens. All right, let's stop this. So do you hear the Mini Moog? The Sub 37. All right, I'm gonna bring in. I got this device is my drum level. So I accidentally mapped this to the drum level, but also it's also mapped to the Mini Moog resonance accidentally. Ow, that is piercing. Oh dear God, that is piercing. My ears are bleeding. So that's a mistake that'll happen. So I swapped out the Mini Moog for the Sub 37, and the Sub 37 is already mapped certain controls to MIDI CCs, right? And so they were coming in. This slider for controlling drum goes out to all the synths, and I thought, you know, it's CC21 or something like that, and CC21 happens to be connected to resonance on the Moog, so I'm gonna have to find a new CC to use there, or filter it, one or the other. Tinker asks, question: as it happens, where are the drums coming from? They're just a drum loop. It's nothing fancy. They're from Stylus. There's a VST called Stylus from Spectrasonics. I use it a lot. It's got a nice loops in it, and it's a pretty good tool. So it's really, really old though. It's like 15 years old. So, but it does odd time signatures really well. So that's why I use it. Karen says you could throw a random LFO at the octave control. Exactly, right? Okay, so I think that's it for today. It's 3:04. I've run over. 2 hours was a lot, but I just had to, I wanted to get these rants out of my system. So, Erica, it's not, I can't blame Erica. So whoever, for whatever reason, they chose not to implement the polygate. That's annoying. Anyway, okay, everyone, have fun. Hope the rest of your day's easy. Whatever's left of your weekend, and I will see you all next Sunday. All right, play nice, and I will talk to you later. Bye.